It's complicated. There are 8 criminal elements. The jurors only have to prove that 2 of them, or feel that 2 of them have been proven in order for him to be found guilty on that racketeering conspiracy, as well as believing that Combs led a criminal enterprise for his sexual.
It was the kind of courtroom confession that sends shockwaves across the globe. A nurse, once bound by silence, stepped forward and shattered the veil of secrecy. Her testimony, explosive. According to her, Sean Diddy Combs, music titan and cultural powerhouse, has been secretly living with HIV for years. But this revelation was only the tip of a much darker iceberg. The nurse, reportedly connected to the prison healthcare system, claimed Diddy's condition was more than a private burden. It may have
things that I experienced with him were monster-like. That stuff almost destroyed.
Imagine the scene. A courtroom packed wall to wall, every breath held as the nurse took the stand. Her voice, unwavering, sliced through the tension with a revelation long whispered behind closed doors. To some in the industry, it was no surprise. Rumors had clung to Diddy like a second skin for years. His sudden weight loss, reclusive behavior, and whispered paranoia were all signs, now cast in damning new light. The industry reacted with swift panic. Legal teams mobilized overnight, NDAs were dragged out of storage, and reputations scrambled for shelter. The biggest bombshell. Whispers of a long-running slush fund, dubbed the Hush For account, allegedly used to pay off potential accusers, male and female alike. What once seemed like wild rumor now hangs heavy with credibility.
How many people came through his orbit? How many people could this have happened to? And how did he get away with it for so long?
To those who idolized him, the news felt like a personal betrayal. Diddy, long revered as the embodiment of wealth, swagger, and ambition, now stood accused of hiding a secret that could tarnish everything he built. The man who turned bling into gospel may have been living a double life, one filled with calculated deception. And just when the storm seemed at its peak, a new twist emerged. Insiders claim Diddy's former partner, Cassie, compiled a hidden archive during her years in his inner circle. A trove of names, footage, and receipts, if it exists, could append not only Diddy's career but implicate others at the very top of the entertainment food chain. This wasn't just personal anymore. It was systemic.
As Wild King nights. And what a Wild King night was when him and a guest would go to a hotel room or be at his home, his bedroom, and they would have intimate gatherings. I would have to go and prep that hotel room, which consisted of baby oil ash.
But what really went on at these infamous freak-offs? For years, the events were whispered about with a mix of awe and discomfort. Lavish parties attended by models, moguls, and marquee names. But now, testimony paints a grimmer picture. These weren't just adult playdates among the rich and famous. According to witnesses, some guests were pressured, manipulated, or even coerced. Attendees were allegedly stripped of phones, surrounded by armed security, and thrust into an environment where consent blurred. And Diddy? He was said to be either watching from the shadows or orchestrating the madness outright. More than 60 civil suits have now emerged, each echoing a similar theme. Power, abuse, and silence bought with...
He was this clean businessman who rise to the top because he was such a powerful and, smart, educated man. I had no idea that he had this other side to him. And when I started to get exposed to his lifestyle, I started to really realize, this guy has an addiction. It's not just, once every few weeks, it's every day, every hour.
Then came the testimonies of Jane and Cassie. Raw, harrowing, and impossible to ignore. Cassie, visibly pregnant, stood before the court and described years of control, manipulation, and substance-laced coercion. Jane's voice cracked as she detailed a violent outburst, allegedly at Diddy's hands, that left her fearing for her life. The defense pushed back, but the damage was done. The public wasn't just listening, they were outraged. Among the most talked about evidence were the so-called freak-off videos, brief clips reportedly played in court but sealed from public release. One juror described the footage as eerily calm but deeply disturbing, a window into a world far from the glitz of the red carpet. Testimony after testimony revealed a pattern prosecutors say points to something much darker than consent: control by design.
Wow, for Diddy, what? That was a person that I looked up to, the mogul. So, and I listened to all the artists that he made superstars. And so to have a chance to be able to be signed to him, it was amazing. It was like, oh my God, I'm here.